I'd always thought my marriage to Amelia was solid. For 8 years we'd shared our apartment overlooking the river in Aurora City, settling into habits, trusting each other, or so I believed. We had our flaws, like any couple, but nothing could have prepared me for the night I learned just how deeply she had fractured the trust I'd given her. It was late on a Thursday. I was wrapping up a client proposal, eyes aching from hours of staring at numbers, when a soft notification broke the silence in our bedroom. Amelia was asleep beside me, her breathing steady, but the faint glow on her nightstand caught my eye. I assumed it was a reminder from our shared calendar, yet something, an instinct I can't explain, kept me from ignoring it. Her phone lit up. A voice message had arrived. The name on the screen was Rowan. Not a mutual friend. Not anyone she'd ever mentioned. My heartbeat picked up. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, maybe someone from work, but a cold uneasiness crept through me. Without fully thinking it through, I opened the recording app on my own phone. I had never snooped on her before, not once. But in that moment, acting felt easier than reasoning with myself. I hit record and placed my phone near our pillows, angled toward hers. The message played. At first, it sounded like harmless teasing. Then her laugh came through, soft, familiar, a laugh she usually saved for moments between the two of us, and the tone of her voice shifted. Warm. Intimate. Too intimate. Every word cut cleanly, wrapped in a kind of gentleness that somehow made it worse. It was clear this wasn't work. It wasn't friendly. It was something else entirely. When the recording ended, I felt strangely empty and electric all at once. This wasn't a mistake or a slip. It was intentional. Secretive. Something she'd built quietly while sharing a bed with me every night. And I didn't wake her. I didn't confront her. I just sat there in the dim glow, listening to the message again and again, letting the reality sink in like dust settling on a forgotten surface. I had proof now, unmistakable evidence of a side of her life she'd kept hidden. The next morning, Amelia moved around the apartment as if nothing had changed, humming softly, making coffee, smiling at me like everything was perfectly normal. I watched her closely. Each smile felt practiced. Something inside me stiffened, but I kept my face calm. I needed to understand before I reacted. In the days that followed, I paid attention more than I spoke. Her habits shifted subtly. She hovered over her phone longer than usual. She angled the screen away from me. She stepped out during dinner to answer a quick call. And each time, I made notes, not out of spite, but to piece together what had really been happening behind the mask of our marriage. Slowly, it all came together. Rowan wasn't just some random contact. He was the person she rushed to whenever she believed I wasn't watching. The messages, the hushed late-night conversations, the playful tone she no longer used with me, all of it revealed a version of her I had never truly known. She moved through each day with a lightness that only made the betrayal cut deeper. She must have believed she was invincible, that I'd never question her, never notice what lingered in the dim corners of her private world. But I noticed everything. One evening she came home later than normal, carrying the faint scent of a cologne that wasn't mine. She greeted me brightly, placed her bag on the table, and went to freshen up before dinner. I watched her closely. There was a radiance about her, a quiet delight that didn't come from me or from the life we were supposed to share. I could have checked her phone then. It sat on the counter, untouched and unguarded. But there was no need. I already had enough truth to break the facade whenever I wanted. Dinner passed in near silence. Amelia rambled about trivial office drama while I listened, studying her the way a researcher studies a specimen behind glass. All the while, a certain voice message echoed in my mind, her softness, her laughter, all reserved for someone who wasn't me. Later, alone in my study, I returned to the recordings I'd collected. I listened again and again, watching the entire pattern of her secrecy emerge. I had been patient, deliberate, precise, careful not to give away that her web of lies was beginning to collapse. The next morning, she sensed a shift. I spoke less. I didn't smile. The calm surrounding me was wrong, and she felt it like a storm waiting on the horizon. She asked if something was wrong. I didn't respond right away. I just looked at her, long enough to let unease bloom in her eyes. For the first time, I saw fear. Not remorse, fear. The awareness that the hidden life she'd carefully constructed might no longer be hidden at all. I didn't confront her with yelling or accusations. There was no need. The truth was already mine, and she was beginning to understand that the power she thought she had was fading. I let the silence speak for me, and in that silence, everything shifted.